Hello, hello, all of my dearest fishies. I hope you are ready for more reading today. Anxiety, thank you so much for coming back and subscribing for another month. That makes a total of 53 months. That's a lot of months. Welcome back, everyone, and I hope you are ready for the reading we have in store today. We are going to continue reading Mal. Hello and welcome to our TikTok viewers. I'm just double checking that the microphone is picking up and you are getting the background sound. You are. Good, 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 good. You have all been nose booped. I hope you know that. And welcome to all of our new followers. Welcome to my fishies. Congratulations to RQ Wolf on redeeming first in chat. And welcome RQ Wolf. Welcome Hadakin. Welcome Chili. Welcome Ateen. Welcome Neo Metal Sonic. Welcome ASMR Mans. Welcome Billingham. Welcome Don Snacks, welcome Chris, and welcome Anxiety, welcome Purple Tank, welcome Stranger and Transformer, and Automane. And I believe we also have some others. Donovan, welcome, thank you. Thank you all so very, very much for joining me today. I hope that you are all tucked in and ready for bedtime or a nap, or some just cozy, relaxing storytelling. Put a 1 in chat if you're ready to resume reading, if you're ready for the bedtime story to start. And until then, Baked Beans, thank you so much for the gifts on TikTok. Until then, I'm going to get you caught up on what you missed. If you were not here when we started reading Mal, if you did not know, Mal is written by PerlaZul, an amazing writer. And I am so grateful to have the opportunity today to continue reading Mal to you. To get you caught up on what you missed if you were not here for the first part, is we are introduced to Mal. Mal is considered the 8th fairy, and they were in sleep for 100 years. And their body is made of bone. They have blue roses in their chest, and they have, they've kind of grown enough over the years that they have a human face, and they have human hands, and I believe feet. Like, they are trying to, in a way, regrow themselves. And in the first chapter, we not only got introduced to a little bit of when the 7th fairy found Mal, we also got a flashback of when Mal was human and a child, and we got to see the end of the first chapter where Mal wanted to get revenge or vengeance. Hi dog, thank you for being here. Hi Crispix, thank you. Hi Biggs, it's good to see you. Welcome. Mal got some of his vengeance by cursing the newborn princess to prick her finger on a spinning wheel at 16 and die. Well, the 7th fairy went in and kind of undid that and said she won't die, she will just go into 100-year sleep. And that's where we left off. I'm going to take a sip of my tea, and then we will begin reading. If you are new here, I highly encourage hitting the follow button so you can get notified whenever I go live. And if you have to leave at some point during the live stream, that is a-okay. The VODs will be available on YouTube. Highly recommend joining the Discord server so you can be notified for whatever you choose to be notified for. You get to choose what your notifications are. I'm going to also do a calibration. Cool. And then I will resume reading. If you'd like to turn the lights on and off, you must be in either YouTube chat or Twitch chat, and you have the ability to exclamation point lights. Otherwise, wrap yourself up in a cozy blanket. Make sure you've got your headphones on all snug and tight. Sit back, relax, and just enjoy the narration and the story. Flowers don't bloom in the dark. Darkness envelops the abandoned house, with all the windows covered or boarded up. Once dazzling wallpaper now peels off the walls, and many layers of dust paint the furniture gray. Forgotten trinkets lay scattered, and while the decor is furnishable, fashionable, it is clear the modest house has been neglected for years. The front door opens to reveal Mal's hooded silhouette in the bright morning light. He enters hesitantly, his steps waking like light clouds of dust. He inspects with his eyes and keeps his hands close to his body. When he reaches the table, he swipes his finger along the surface, grimaces, and wipes his finger on his robe. Mal pulls back his hood and frees his thorns. And no one knows about this place. Behind him enters a tall, broad man, the Tlatoani of the great kingdom over water, Akalan, with golden eyes that look down at the place with disdain, keeps his hands locked behind him as a trained warrior does. His head, abound with feathers and decorated gold earrings, remains upright. Only I, my father, and the delivery boy we employ, he answers. Grandfather and his mistress already passed. It's close enough to my home, but there are enough trees to hide it. He smirks. Only secrets lie here. Mal continues to walk around the room. He picks up a small frame lying face down on one of the shelves. The woman's portrait. The young woman's portrait meets his eye with no emotion on her beautiful face. Her skin is milky, unlike that of Akalan and his kingdom. Someone from a faraway place, like Mal, seeking refuge in a small kingdom that has yet to condemn magic. And, as if calling out to him, his gaze trails down to the golden harp in her lap. She runs her fingers over the strings, unable to resist the urge to pluck and create. Mal puts it back down. He turns back to Akalan. It certainly is a good hiding place. For me and my children. Of course. Akalan booms in laughter, sending floating dust amok. What do shades eat? Dead animals?
human flesh.
He waves his hand dismissively.
Enough criminals the world can do without.
It's difficult not to sneer at that, but Mal accomplishes it.
We're vegan. Even better.
Mal moves into a furnished sitting room and stands over the fireplace, rolling his head back to the tapestry hanging over it. It has the image of a grand apple tree adorned by dulled red apples.
Will we be safe here until the curse takes effect? Queen Irenema would never suspect you here. Her greatest ally harboring her greatest enemy? Absurd!
Without turning back, Mal replies as he takes the poker and nudges whatever remains of the logs, awakening a nest of baby spiders that disperse in all directions.
And why would her greatest ally harbor her greatest enemy?
The prior confident voice of the king hums, quieting to a calculating, precise choice of words.
I am the Tlatoani, first and foremost. I have a kingdom to protect, as small as it may be in comparison.
There is a pause, and his voice sounds closer, paces from Mal's back.
The fairy said your curse would last 100 years. That it may even be great enough to put the That it may be great enough to put the entire castle to sleep.
When Mal straightens up and faces the Tlatoani, he finds Akalan bearing down at him, eyes gleeful like a scheming child. Mal backs away until he hits the stone fireplace. The air in the room thickens, making it harder for Mal to gulp it down. He cannot do anything but listen to Akalan as his hidden plans finally have a chance to burst out.
When Queen Irenema and all her kingdom's leaders are gone, I come in to provide support. Of course, I won't force the people under my rule, as I'm sure they will want to wait for their true rulers. I and my bloodline will wait with them. Then after those 100 years pass, it's a descendant of mine that wakes the pitiful princess and then marries her. Why, won't that be the happiest of endings?
Mal swallows bile down his dry throat.
Romantic indeed.
Akalan chuckles and backs off. He resumes his more aloof, loud person.
I'm glad you see it that way. Now then, I'll leave you to get acquainted with a place before your children and other I'm so sorry. I am making so many mistakes. I gotta hard reset my brain. 1 second. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the compliment. I'm trying. I promise I'm trying. I'm not intentionally messing up. I swear I'm not intentionally messing up. Thank you, Eric. Hi, Atlantis. I'm glad you see it that way. Now, then, I'll leave you to get acquainted with the place before your children and other supplies arrive. Whatever you don't like in here, you can toss.
With an unfitting grin, Akalan exits, plunging Mal into silence. Alone at last, Mal lets his face contort into a sneer as he dusts off his clothing. Akalan jumped on this opportunity seemingly since Mal bestowed his curse. To be used like this leaves him in a bad mood. But there is nothing he can do, nor does he care about what happens once the princess falls under the curse. Mal's mind is preoccupied with how he'll survive the next 10 years before the curse comes to fruition, let alone think about what will come in the following 100. Seventh told him a human lifespan no longer constrains his current body. He'll die when his roses do. Until then, he needs to find a reliable place for himself and his shades. Feeling stifled, Mal goes to the closest window to pull back the old curtains, but shrinks back. The blinding light strikes his eyes, and he shuts the curtain with a scowl. Ugh, too bright. It's what happens when you spend so much time in the dark, a voice says from behind. Startled, Mal spins around to see Fifth on light feet, as if simply standing there disgusted her. At her side stands Seventh, her nose wrinkled as she peers around the room, arms tight against her body. The surprise fades, and irritation takes over as Mal responds. You could have shown up earlier. Seventh, with her cautious hope, walks around the room to take account of what's been left for them. Well, Akalan is too much, Fifth finishes. With the tips of her fingers, she lifts up a book abandoned on a table and holds it at arm's length. And this place? Too little. Nothing a little dusting can't fix, Seventh says. When she spots an empty vase, her eyes light up. And some plants. A vase here, and maybe hang a vine from the ceiling. And bigger windows. In an instant, the window expands, the curtains vanishing altogether. Mal and Fifth shield their eyes from the sudden burst of sunlight. The magic sets off a cloud of dust, and Mal sneezes. He wipes his nose miserably. The cleaning can wait. Are my children safe? In response, Fifth reaches under her skirt and, after pulling out various items, a broom, snacks, multiple books, finally pulls out a dollhouse. It's no bigger than a birdcage, 2 stories high, with lilac walls and yellow accents. Right here, she says, and sets it down on the floor. Carefully, she pinches the doorknob and turns it to open the front door. Delighted little shades the size of coins start pouring out. The moment their bodies exit the dollhouse, they pop into their usual size, and they disperse, curiosity shining bright in their eyes. Mouse starts counting them off with a single pat on their head, saying,
Don't go too far off.
At the other end of the room, Seventh continues her planning on her own. Yes, some sunflowers will do nicely here, and a pretty little succulent here. Fifth scoffs.
Flowers and succulents? No, what this child needs are books. Let's fill this wall with bookshelves.
One wave, and shelves pop out of a wall with bookends taking the shape of miniature spinning wheels. So, he'll end up lost in hills of books like your place. What he needs is fresh air. Flowers to greet him each morning. I'm going to do that one again. What he needs is fresh air. Flowers to greet him each morning.
His mind needs nurturing.
Fifth collects the books she had pulled out of her skirt and begins setting them up on a shelf.
Love poems for the heart, adventures for the soul.
She wiggles her eyebrows as she puts away the last book.
A raunchy read for a fun night. What's here is fine.
I'm gonna do that one again.
What's here is fine.
Mal says,
just magic up new curtains. What does any of the other stuff matter? Other stuff?
Seventh and Fifth stare at him, aghast.
If you sit here in the dark, you'll become another dusty chair,
Fifth says. Mal shrugs.
If I turn into a bed, even better.
Seventh tries a kinder approach. And what of your craft? New tapestries? Doilies? You don't even sound excited about spinning a new thread for a curtain. Mal hugs himself, but quickly switches to cross his arms instead.
I don't know.
His fingers drum against his arms. The urge is there. He can feel the sensations of twisted cotton like a ghost. But every time he's in front of a spinning wheel, nothing spins. No designs come to mind when he holds a needle of colored thread. And the lace? His muddled mind can't keep up with the countless spools to braid.
I just want to lie in bed and not think about anything.
The other two fairies share a look before Seventh comes to his side and gently rubs his back. Are you tired, my darling?
Very much so.
He juggles these nameless emotions in his head, this listlessness that swallows any hint of enjoyment in anything he does. All his thoughts continuously circle back to the little princess, the permanent reminder of what Mal has robbed of. The permanent reminder of what Mal was robbed of. She is the legacy of his sacrifice, the spark that had torched the curse died out some time ago. And all Mal is left with is smoke. Hi, PerlaZul. Hi. I just want to bring attention to the lovely and wonderful author we have with us in Twitch chat. Hi, thank you again so very, very, very much for letting me read Mal. I loved it when I read it by myself, but I am so excited to share it with others in hopes that they're going to love it just as much as I did. And I am trying my hardest to do the story justice. I want to get a nice, good recording for you. So thank you again. And to the viewers that we have in TikTok chat, if you could help me by letting other viewers know that we are reading a book called Mal. That is spelled M-A-L. I'd appreciate the help. And if we have any moderators that are on Twitch that wouldn't mind jumping over to TikTok, I would appreciate it. Okay. Gotta get back into it. Mal's gaze falls to the floor.
I dread every morning and dread every night. I'm unweaving.
Fifth lets out a sigh, and likewise comforts Mal with soft pats on his shoulder. Then she gives Seventh a nod for her to jump in.
If you're tired, my darling, well, we'll share a bit of our insight.
Seventh clears her throat.
There are days I find myself stuck in the muck of misery, weighed down, depressed, thinking, why is joy such a mystery?
Fifth adds,
and days I can't stand the world beyond my blanket. My favorite foods all taste so bland, and I think, am I living in a casket? Oh, those days,
Seven laments.
Those bad, ugly days,
Fifth bemoans.
I tell myself.
Seventh raises a fist before Mal. When she unfurls her fingers, a pretty pink carnation blooms into life. She offers it to Mal and says,
I am a flower.
Mal picks it up and twirls it by the stem.
A flower?
Fifth gives Mal a quick inspection and clicks her tongue.
In the midst of winter, looks like.
After sending Fifth a stern look, Seventh quickly regains her smile for Mal.
If being a person feels like too much, become the stem that holds the bud.
After attempting to and failing to pinch Seventh, Fifth grins at Mal.
Every flower needs love and care.
And then I think, that much I can bear. Unable to keep looking at the beautiful flower, Mal hands it back.
What if I'm a weed? Even weeds fight for their right to bloom,
Fifth says.
Now, darling Mal, what does a flower need to bloom?
Mal huffs and gives in to the fairy's game to answer.
Water.
Yes,
take a drink and take a shower.
Seventh gives Mal an encouraging wave to answer.
And sunlight.
With a wave of Fifth's hand, the boards covering another window poof out of existence.
Opened windows on the hour.
Mal's face softens, and he answers a third time.
Dirt.
Seventh grabs a broom and starts sweeping away dirt and trash.
Clean home that's free of clunk.
This time, Mal scrunches his brow as he offers.
And the worms?
Fifth passes out dusters and rags to the shades, exclaiming,
That's us that's clear the junk. Flowers can't bloom in the dark, Seventh says, and no flower is ever unloved on days when being you feels too hard.
She pokes Mal's nose with the pink.
Become the flower beloved. The blossoms on a tree, Fifth says. Dandelions on a weed, Seventh says. Tulip whose color adorns, Fifth says.
Seventh raises the pink flower and tucks it behind Mal's ear.
And yes, the rose amongst its thorns.
The fairies take Mal's hands and lead him to the sunshine beneath the window, saying,
Be the flower that blooms in the light, the one that won't give up the fight.
Seventh squeezes.
In the same way you'd love a flower, love yourself with that same power.
Mal looks out into the small clearing outside this strange new home and breathes, feeling his roses sway with the air. A gentle breeze sifts through his thorns, and he shivers slightly at the cool touch. Life in the mountains wasn't demanding. In fact, it was easy with the fairies' help. So much so that Mal didn't know what to do with the time except sleep. Spinning, dyeing, embroidering. He'd barely start when he grew tired of it and went to bed. Now, he can't recall the last time he stood in the sun and just be. For once, his heart feels at ease, and he basks in it. Except this gnawing thought creeps forward slowly. He has no lungs to fill or skin to feel the warm sun. There has been no sign of a third rose growing to replace the one he lost.
But what if?
He says. Fifth scowls. What now? Spit it out!
What if I still can't bloom?
Again, the two fairies share a look, and they puff up their chests with pleased grins.
Well, what do you think a gardener's for?
An expert gardener, Seventh says.
A magical gardener,
Fifth adds.
Some flowers need help, and that's fine too. I'll love you enough for the two of us because I will never give up on you.
At last, a smile forms on Mal's lips, and he caresses the flower by his cheek.
Be a flower, huh?
He chuckles.
Shouldn't be too hard with the literal roses growing in me.
Seventh gives him a warning look.
Those roses are you. Don't forget, if those roses wither or you lose them, you'll lose yourself. Yes, I know. Could have fooled me, Fifth pipes in. Fine. I'll clean and take whatever hand-me-downs you have. I wouldn't sleep in this mess anyway. That's my darling. Lose one more rose and I'm potting you. Yeah.
Seventh and fifth split up, recruiting the shades along the way to clean up different areas of the house. Mal turns to the window and holds out a hand in the sunlight.
I'll grow back my rose. Once my revenge is complete, dozens more will grow.
He looks up at the sky with a taunting smirk.
Won't that be wonderful, Velius?
That's the end of chapter 2. I hope you guys liked it. What did you think of it? I really enjoyed the exploring and the description of how Mal is feeling and slipping into this unfortunate, depressed slope of realizing what his actions have done. If you have not already, this is an opportunity for you to take a drink of water and hydrate. Okay. The ads have finished playing on Twitch, meaning that we can go ahead and start the next chapter. Dova, thank you for the kisses and thank you for the hydrates. Put a 1 in chat if you are ready to start chapter 3. Chapter 3 is titled The Question. What is the question? I don't know. Maybe I do know. I'm just not telling you. Well, it looks like everybody else is asleep except, PerlaZul is ready and Anxiety is ready. I think everyone else is asleep. I'm just teasing you. Alright, let's get into it. Hi, Erica. Hi, Dova. The question. Like flower blossoms swaying in the wind, poofy dresses dash across the ballroom to music. Young girls blush, and as young men kiss their hands, honey-sweet giggles reverberate. Fairy lights float along the ceiling, some clinking against the bulbous chandeliers or bumping into the colorful streamers of quality silk that hang down over the heads of the invited. Every guest dons their most extravagant outfit as they converse with glasses in hand or pluck food off the past trays. The atmosphere is joyous and celebratory, but there are murmurs nonetheless as guests look around in fear. With no word of the vanished eighth fairy, most have forgotten the curse, but there are always the cautious. The queen and king stand at the edge of the celebration, smiling and greeting the guests while they whisper to one another in between.
Maybe we should end it now,
the king says, worried wrinkles appearing on his brow when a guest walks off.
Close the gates and have every guard search under every bed.
The queen does a better job maintaining her poised smile as she whispers back, "Now, dear, you know she's tougher than that, and we have guards, and..." She leans closer to him. "The you-know-what all over the walls."
The what?
They greet another guest and wave them along to the drinks and food, the queen hissing through her teeth, "The spells, dear."
Right, the spells.
He smiles, then it wavers again.
But are they safe? Was the magicka we hired reliable?
Yes. My grandfather fostered relationships with a selected number of magicers, those that agreed to aid for amnesty. For a second, her strength falters. Her squared shoulders slump. We were doing so well in bringing back magic. Good magic. And then this happens with one of the fairies.
It was that servant that stole the gold plates.
The queen shakes her head and straightens her posture again. It was our oversight. But we are here now. Akalon's forces are here, and the spells are up. No thief or magicka or fairy or witch will pass our gates.
You're right, love. The day is almost done, and not a sound from him these 16 years.
He scans the crowd, his scowl deepening when he doesn't find the reason this whole party is for.
That girl, even though I pleaded with her to not run off alone.
The displeasure in his voice carries behind him to the closed door leading to the hallway. Primarily, servants traverse, carrying heaps of linens and towels, and tonight, rushing drinks and such to the party. But it is quiet enough for the king's murmur to reach the ears of a young girl passing by. Upon hearing the familiar voice, she places her ear against the door. On the other side, the queen sighs and attempts to search herself, though not as distressed. Vespera must have gone out for a breath. She'll be safe so long as she's within the castle walls.
Still, Vespera must be here to greet the guests. We must find her at once.
The young princess, with pitch-black hair bound in golden clasps and honey-brown eyes, wrinkles her nose. I've greeted everyone twice, she argues one-sidedly. Is that not so, Daisy? The raven perched on her shoulder ruffles her feathers and caws. Vespera assumes a high-pitched voice and proceeds to talk for her friend. It's so hot in there, it's hard to breathe. Then she nods and resumes speaking in her normal voice. Precisely. And to reward ourselves, and to really enjoy my birthday, and to really celebrate my birthday, I say we stop by the kitchen for a bit of cake and enjoy it quietly. Just as they are about to march off, a voice comes up behind them, making them both jump.
Sneaking off already, little princess.
Akalon steps out of the darkness into the soft glow of the torch on the wall. He keeps his hands clasped behind his back, a toothy grin on his face. Vespera places a hand over her heart. Vespera places a hand over her fast heartbeat. Oh, Lord Akalan! Quickly, she regains her composure and greets him in grace. She gathers her gown in her hands for a bow. Akalan's armor glistens in the firelight like his eyes trained on the princess until they spot Daisy, and his grin wavers.
Still have that bird with you. Be careful. I hear crows are symbols of misfortune and death.
Is that so? Vespera scratches Daisy beneath her beak, to Daisy's delight. Good thing Daisy is a raven. Why, I raised her myself after she had fallen out of her nest, so I know she's good.
I see. And what is the good bird and her good mother doing out here?
Vespera's eyes shine with mischief. We're sneaking to the kitchen.
For a moment, Akalan stares at her before he chuckles. What an honest young lady. But
he leans closer to her to share a secret.
I know some more interesting places.
He has her attention instantly as she leans closer. You do?
Yes.
Akalan grins.
The tower.
Unimpressed, Vespera straightens up again, hands on her hips. Everyone knows about the tower. Ever since King Pelias sealed it away, no one's been allowed in, not even Mother.
Ah, yes. All true. Well, while I was visiting the kitchen, I overheard the most insightful prattle. A maid will clean it up tonight while everyone's busy at the party.
Muffled music fills the silence between them. Vespera's face twitches in contained emotion as she says, Is that so? She turns aside as if uninterested, but she excitedly whispers to Daisy, We can finally find out what's in there. Then, she clears her throat and addresses Akalan with her regal attitude. I'm not interested in the slightest. Now, we will be busy visiting the kitchen to test the cake for poison.
Akalan bows. Of course. Of course, little princess. I gotta do that again.
Akalan bows.
Of course, little princess. I do hope everything turns out well.
Vespera returns the gesture before she heads down the hallway, her steps even and poised. But as soon as she turns the corner and checks that she and Daisy aren't being followed, she makes a dash for the tower. Can you imagine, Daisy? Of all nights, tonight when the tower room will be opened. What a wonderful birthday gift! If it truly holds some of King Pelias' secrets, we might discover how he got rid of all those shades. He must have used magic. Or maybe a magical beast? What if we find a dragon in there? We could become friends. Vespera races up the stairs and pauses at the door slightly ajar. Breathing so hard, she turns to Daisy with a wide grin before pushing through. A single light illuminates a portion of the room surrounding the worn table. A layer of dust coats the little furniture in the room, many of the strange contraptions having gone years without being touched. She comes across a mannequin wearing nothing but a red cloak. She touches the hem, her fingers strumming along the golden embroidery. How old it must be, despite the quality and the vivid color of the threads. But her attention is soon drawn away by a spinning wheel. Intrigued, she walks towards it, her hand about to touch it, when,
old isn't it?
Vespera jumps and clutches at her chest as she whirls around, searching for the source of the voice. When she spots an old maid holding a candle, she clears her throat and composes herself. Hello? The old maid's features are difficult to see with her bonnet and collared blouse, but her smile is visible enough as she asks,
Young lady, what brings you all the way up here?
Vespera eases into the soft tone of the old maid's voice and relaxes. Well, the door was opened, and I wanted to take a peek. She turns her attention back to the spinning wheel. What's this? The old maid comes around to it.
This old thing? Why, it's a spinning wheel.
What does it do?
I used to spin thread on it many years ago.
It makes thread? Vespera thinks about it for a moment. I suppose I never thought about where thread comes from. The candlelight wavers as the old maid moves before the wheel. Her wrinkled, knobbed fingers touch the wheel, and with a gentle push, she spins it.
It comes from something like this. I spun the thread. My mother dyed it, and we'd embroider fabrics. Beautiful gowns and robes and cloaks.
She snickers as she shares a secret.
There were rumors. We used magic.
Vespera's eyes go wide. Did you?
Maybe a little.
The old maid gives the wheel another push and watches it spin and spin like her memories of bygone days. Then she brushes down her apron.
But that was many, many years ago. All forgotten now.
How could anyone forget magical gowns? I'd never forget.
The old maid laughs. Why remember when you're allowed to forget? When you're so young, any promise or pledge today will seem like a dream years from now. What is this tiny slice of time against years of happiness and fruition?
But Vespera is more hopeful, as young people often are. Still, some things should never be forgotten.
You have a point. Then, would you like to come closer and have a look? To remember our history.
The creaking wheel continues to spin with a rhythmic beat. Vespera approaches and starts feeling the tool, running her fingers along the wood. When her hands go to a chipped protrusion, the old maid stands beside her.
Careful, child. Looks like the tip is gone.
Is it broken?
See this part here? It's snapped off. It's where all the magic was.
Carelessly, the old maid taps the jagged tip, huffs, and looks around on the floor.
Where has it gone?
Vespra's eyes are mesmerized by the idea of magic. She reaches for the tip, but Daisy hops onto the spinning wheel and spreads her legs. Sorry. I need to drink a tea. Vespra's eyes are mesmerized by the idea of magic. She reaches for the tip, but Daisy hops onto the spinning wheel and spreads her wings. Daisy! I want to check if there's any magic left.
Oh, be careful not to prick your finger, the old maid says as she keeps searching.
Oh, I won't. Distracted, Vespra reaches out and accidentally pricks her finger. Without a chance to even blink, she falls on the floor, asleep. Daisy drops soon after, her wing blanketing a black shoe where the old maid's dress once draped over.
Silly girl,
Mal says as he removes the bonnet and his strands of thorns spill down. He prods the raven's wing before pulling back his foot, assessing the situation.
You too. My rose is more thorough than I thought.
He stands back and waits for something. For elation or relief, but none of it comes. Instead, he is flooded by memories of a time in his life he'll never get back, of a family he'll never see again. He finds remnants of his mother's habits throughout the room, the spools disorganized in corners, a basket of scraps beneath the table. Her precious plate painted with little apples is cold against his fingers. How often he placed a single slice of apple. How often he placed a slice of apple pie on it for her. Eventually, he stands before the red cloak and remembers the young boy who snuck into the tower so long ago. His laughter seems to echo still, haunting Mal with a happiness he can't feel. His hand reaches for the cloak, but he can't bring himself to touch it. His outstretched hand trembles, and his eyes well up with tears.
A spinster you betrayed, he murmurs, left me alone and so afraid. Despite your words of love for me.
The tears turn hot, and he suddenly grasps the cloak and buries his face into the mannequin's chest.
You still left me to decay.
His voice cracks. Stupid TikTok timer. Blah, 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 blah. That's an emotional moment, TikTok. Sorry. His voice cracks as his grief at last crawls out from the depths of his being and out his throat.
Why, Felius?
He sobs.
Why didn't you come back for me?
Flashback. In the 4 years they have lived in the tower, Mal and his mother turned their room entirely their own. Though the layout saw little changes, only a little is visible under the mountains of unembroidered fabric. Supplies and clothing spill out of drawers, and bundles of dyed thread hang from the walls. The room is near maze-like, with carefully laid out paths to navigate. Mal works the spinning wheel, humming lightly to his mother's metronomic pace at the loom. Felius sits beside him on a stool, eating an apple and tapping his foot to the melody. Then he leans into Mal's ear and whispers, making Mal giggle. The swift sliding of wood across taut threads stops. Mother raises an eyebrow at them. "Boys, do I need to separate you two again?" Felius drops the grin and bows his head. "I apologize, Miss Marova." Mother resumes her work with quick, expert hands. "If we don't finish your outfit in time for your birthday, the one Mal chose to take charge of, well, what would the king think of his reputation?" This time, Felius goes a little pink in the cheeks. "I'll behave, ma'am." Mal slows his spinning to give Felius a slight jab to his side. He winks before addressing his mother. "He was telling me about the apples from the garden. The cook said if we picked a few for her, she'd make us an apple pie." Mother's eyebrow twitches but doesn't stop her hands. "An apple pie, you say?" Mal similarly continues his spinning, his tone nonchalant. "I'm ahead in my work, so I hope to pick them today, before they're overripe." His mother takes a step back to get a better perspective of her work, then looks to the window to measure the sunlight. "Well, we have been at it all day." "Well, we have been at it all morning. A break wouldn't be a bad idea." Felius is quick to take the opportunity. He clears his throat and does his best to maintain a leveled voice. "If he can go with me now, we can have apple pie by dinner time." The two boys gulp under her scrutinizing eyes, but then she breaks character and laughs. "All right. He can go apple picking. I'll use the peace and quiet to finish this." Mal and Felius grin at one another and dash to the door. Felius grabs Mal's hood and dons it on him before Felius grabs his own. The two then hurry down the stairs. Felius throws back his head, and his laugh echoes. "To use your own mother's weakness! Now it's your turn to convince the cook to make us apple pie. Easy. She adores me." They reach the bottom of the staircase, where Mal shakes his head. "To be so adored." "But you are." Felius comes around Mal to find his cheek hidden by the hood and gives him a peck. "By me," he says with a grin, and without giving Mal a chance to retort, moves past him to hold the door open. Mal tugs down his hood lower to hide his giddy smile, not willing to give Felius the satisfaction of his reaction. The two exit the castle, eyes looking around any corner to avoid anyone in their path. They snicker and tease one another the entire way, Mal suddenly pushing Felius out into the open and then running away, laughing when Felius chases him. At the edge of the well-curated garden are a few apple trees in a curve that work as a boundary, a vast meadow and pond beyond them. But all they see is the juicy red apples weighing down the branches. Mal picks those on the ground, while Felius climbs the short trunk for the ones just out of reach. They pile them on Felius's brown cape, and once the pile is large enough, they take a break and sit by the roots of a tree. Sweet juice dribbled down Sweet juice dribbles down Mal's chin, and he salivates for the pie they'll eat later. Felius, on the other hand, stares ahead, lost in his thoughts, with his half-eaten apple on his lap. A cool breeze brushes past them. Above them, birds chitter. Mal tosses the core into the open, and soon a rabbit appears to finish off the rest. Mal hugs his knees and watches it, content with the quiet, the peace. I heard we might lose the apple grove to the shades. Mal turns to Felius at his soft, doleful voice. Right. The shades. Despite their tranquility in this garden of the royal family, the shades run rampant, beyond their safe little world. And they are approaching. Are they that close? Felius nods and tosses what's left of his apple to the rabbit. The town at the edge of the canyon has been abandoned already. The shades are getting desperate. With less and less magic, they're going for any town they find. His honey eyes focus on the rabbit biting into the apple. It's getting harder to hold them back. Mal holds his knees tighter, his nails digging into his pants until they're white. What if they're coming for me? For Mother? I won't let them. Warm hands grasp Mal's, and he looks up at Felius kneeling over him. His usual teasing and carefree expression are gone, and Mal finds dark under eyes and tight shoulders instead. And yet, Felius's confidence doesn't waver. They will never breach the castle. Even if the witch that created them is dead, we can still find a way to kill them. We know they seek magic and feed off misery. Maybe we can lure them away into a trap. Father says we don't have enough magic roses to build a big enough border, but... Have you told your father about your ideas? Felius scoffs and slumps back down against the tree trunk. He keeps brushing me away, saying he's busy with planning and meetings. But the longer we wait, the more people will suffer. He leans his head back. For my kingdom, for the people that give me everything, I have to give back. I have to protect everyone. Mal knows when Felius has something to say. He can see the wheels spinning in Felius's head and waits patiently for him to share. Felius bites his lip and slowly starts to reveal what's on his mind. Father keeps a few magical items locked in his study. I went through them and found a strong sleeping potion. It's supposed to work on anything, so it has to affect the shades. If they can be lured away and tricked into taking it... Felius meets Mal's eyes. If the two of us work together... Impossible. If knights and magicers couldn't stop the shades, how will they? But Mal's fear and uncertainty diminish before Felius's courage. Mal grasps it. We can save the kingdom, he finishes. Felius nods. I have a plan. That is the end of Act 1. Yippee! Can we get some yippies? Are you awake? Are you sleeping? Are you comfy? Can we get some yippee? Do you love the story as much as I do? Because I love it. I hope you're loving it. I hope you're loving the voices that I'm doing. I'm trying really hard. We do have an ad about to play on Twitch, just so you know. Thank you for watching. Where's my hands? My hands, they're broken. Hold on. Hands, come back to me. Thank you for watching ads. And if you don't want ads, you can subscribe. Thank you, Bard, for joining us. And have a good night, Jackson. Hello, TikTok chat. It's just you and me and anybody that's subscribed on Twitch and anybody who's watching on YouTube. Hi, YouTube chat. There's not normally anybody or a lot of people. There's not normally a lot of people on YouTube chat. But welcome, everybody. And if you are just now joining us in the middle of the stream, I will inform you that we are halfway through the stream and we have just finished Act 1 of this book. This is called Mal, M-A-L. It is written by PerlaZul, and I hope that you are enjoying it. If you have been listening thus far to these, I think, first 3 chapters, I'm curious, while we are on this ad break with Twitch, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are of the book so far. I gotta take a sip of tea too. Hi, Robert. I highly encourage you guys to take a sip of water as well. And if you have not yet gotten all comfy in your blankie, now is certainly a time to. I'm also going to take a quick run to the bathroom because we are halfway through the stream and that would be a good time. I will be right back. If you didn't know, you can also solve a puzzle. Hello. Hello, my fishies. Hello. I do apologize that the fishies are not entirely working. I don't know why. Wardo is trying to fix it. Can you do water sounds? See, the ASMR redeem is, Ling, thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't do a heart. There. Finger heart. I tried. I'm sorry. I'm really sweaty. The ASMR redeems on Twitch are meant to be kind of like, you know, is there something that I can do? Is it like a POV, I tuck you into bed, or POV, I don't know. I don't know. Something that I can do. I cannot make water sounds with my mouth. Oh, if you want me to do like a siren singing video for social media, I can do that. If you want me to do a ASMR like lullaby, sing you to sleep kind of video, I can do that. ASMR, yeah. People like it when I sing, and then I can sing them to sleep. But then when my nails, ASMR mans, you have to actually put the description. I gotta know. I have no brains. I forget. I forgore. No think, thought, gone, forgar. I'm clipping that. What the hell is wrong with me? Okay. There's also tappy tappy. You like the tappy tappy? I know you like the tappy tappy. Hi, Unzip. All right, let's resume reading. Put a 1 in chat if you are ready to resume reading. Put a 2 in chat if you are already asleep. We are going to resume on Act 2. So many of you are asleep. This is crazy. They're sleep typing. You guys are so clever. But hey, Perla's ready for us to continue. Let's take a deep breath before we begin. Ready? Act 2. The Raven's Good Mother. Why does the spinster spin his thread? Bright sunlight peeks through the gap in the thick curtains where only dust sways. The slim beam of light pierces the darkness like a sword, creeping upwards until it reaches a shade's face. Their slumbering expression contorts in discomfort and rearranges their small body in the pile of other sleeping shades on the bed. Similar piles of tangled bodies are spread throughout the bedroom on the floor, squeezed on an armchair, or bundled on a rug. A shade slumbers in a pot hanging from the ceiling, and another is draped over a bookcase. The bed is a jumble of shades, blankets, and Mal beneath it all, with only a hand sticking out. All that echoes is the symphony of light snores and the occasional shifting bodies. A loud knock interrupts the peace. Seventh's voice calls out from the other side of the door, as impatient as her knocking. "I know you're in there!" Mal grumbles and buries himself further, his hand devoured by the void. Another, gentler voice calls out to him. "Sweetie, I think you've been sleeping too long. How about spending some time with us today?" "Don't be so easy on him," Seventh hisses at Third. "This is the 4th time this week." "But what if he's having a nice dream?" "That is exactly the point." Again, Seventh raises her voice. "Mal, we're coming in!" Seventh bursts in with her peeved eyes, scanning the state of the room. Her frown grows deeper with every new detail she picks out. Trash and dishes are strewn about, and dirty clothing drapes over the spinning wheel. And the smell. Seventh marches... And the smell. Seventh marches to the window, but seeing the withered flower on the sill fills her with rage. She storms straight to the bed instead. Third watches meekly at the door, swaying from foot to foot, unable to decide if it would be rude to enter without being invited first. At the bed, Seventh immediately starts digging through the shades. "It is morning! No, past morning, and you need to get some sunlight!" Once she finds Mal's arm, she grasps it and tugs with all her strength. "Right?" She huffs and pulls. "Now!" Mal falls in a heap on the floor, grumpy and half asleep, but making no attempt to fight back. "Good morning," he mumbles. "The morning has passed." Her stern words don't faze Mal, who sits up and lays his head on the low bed, eyes closed. "Then might as well get ready for bed tonight." Finally deciding, Third maneuvers through the room with light movements, lifting her skirt as she steps over the sleeping shades on tiptoes. "Sweetie, I didn't give you sweet dreams so you could ignore your real life." At her voice, Mal perks up. He didn't realize Third accompanied Seventh, and his body tenses. He'd have shoved the mess into a closet, pretending that he was more put together. Shame colors his cheeks, and he looks aside. "I'm not." "And your children!" Seventh exclaims. They all look around at them. They all look around them at the lethargic shades that slumber on undisturbed. Seventh plucks one up off the bed. Oh my God, I'm stumbling. Seventh plucks one off the bed and holds them up, the shade's head lolling from side to side in its half-sleep.
Just look at them! They've always been so full of energy.
A sniff, and Seventh keeps the shade at arm's length.
When's the last time they've been bathed?
Third covers her nose with the back of her hand to remain polite. She sits on her knees and rubs Mal's shoulder with her other hand. Are the dreams really helping? Dismissing the question would be easy. Mal can lie and say the dreams help, that he has it under control. Because only in his dreams, where he returns to his life in the tower, does he feel anything. Happiness, excitement, satisfaction, anxiety, as someone tries on the clothes he created, or disappointment when a midnight meeting falls through. He takes back the shade from Seventh and rocks them against his chest. Seventh is right. His children were energetic, and the house was always filled with pittering footsteps. But now, Mal looks around the room. His children are listless and groggy. And something inside him droops. He has no heart that tightens, no lungs that compact, but he feels the pain of shame and regret all the same. I don't know, he says with his eyes on the floor. But in my dreams, I'm not like this. I'm back in my life before the cave. Seventh and Third soften at his broken voice and kneel at his side. Third brushes Mal's thorns aside and lifts his head to meet her eyes. Sweetie, sweet dream is a respite, a brief rest to give you the strength to go on another day. But they're fueling your regrets rather than your ambitions. They're draining you. Panic seizes Mal. He clutches the pretty stone hanging from his neck at the thought of an endless numbness. Will you take it away? He whispers. Third sighs and glances at Seventh, who nods with fervor. Turning back to Mal, Third holds out her hand. Mal's eyes glisten with tears, but with a trembling hand, he removes the stone and returns it. Third rolls it between her fingers before pinching at the middle. Thinning the stone like clay until it splits. I'll give you back half, she says. Seventh gapes at her decision, yelling out her disapproval. But, and the other half, Third continues with a mischievous smile at Seventh. I want you to give it to the princess. The princess? Mal asks. Yes. I want you to check on her and ensure she is having nice dreams. Simply lay this stone on her chest, tap yours to hers, and take a little nap.
Mal stares down blankly at the stone half the size it once was. Although he repeats Third's instructions over and over in his mind, he still can't comprehend them. You want me to visit her dreams?
You still have the connected doorway, do you not? Visit her dreams to confirm they are not all nightmares. As a fairy, you must be responsible for what you put out in the world, especially if it is a curse. Or you'll end up like the one who created the shades. She pats the sleeping shade on the head. The two of us will tidy up and bathe your sweet children.
Seventh is quick to jump in and waves Mal off. Yes, yes. Go check on her. At Mal's suspicious silence, she narrows her eyes at him. Don't tell me you've left her on the floor this whole time. Mal looks away. Of course not. Third and Seventh take the shade and usher Mal towards the back of the room, where a shallow alcove is curtained off. Seventh draws it back to reveal a door. Mal's hand grips the knob, but it doesn't turn. He sees no reason to visit the very person he cursed. But if there is a chance Third allows him to keep Sweet Dream, and Mal swears to himself that he'll be more careful with it, then he has to take it. Mal pushes the door open and steps into the tower of the princess's castle. Once he shuts the door behind him, he is engulfed in silence. Why me? Mal laments as he moves forward in a room as abandoned as he is. His feet take him to the spinning wheel, and he gives it a push. Spiderweb flutters in the air like loose threads. The sound unravels memories and snippets of recent dreams, and, overwhelmed, his hand shoots out to bring the wheel to a sudden stop. His tense shoulders tremble. But before he can make his cowardly escape, his eyes fall over the sleeping princess by the spinning wheel. She's sprawled out, drool slipping down the side of her mouth. Daisy sleeps by her head, her wings outstretched. That's right. Mal is here to check on her. If he gives up now and Seventh sees her on the floor, he'll hear about it for years. So, he grits his teeth and bends down to hook his arms beneath hers. The weight of a complete human body steals Mal's breath too quickly. His panting echoes as he struggles to drag her up to the loft. Why are you so heavy? He complains between breaths. When he reaches the top, he drops her on the sheets, unsettling dust into the air. After mulling over the thought, he returns for Daisy and plops her on the bed. There, he says, wiping his hands of the whole ordeal. Next, Mal places one of the stones on her chest and taps his against it. A hollowed, echoing ring resonates around them. Then he grabs a chair and settles in,
grumbling to himself all the while.
Just take a quick peek, and I can return to my dreams.
At this point, he's mastered the art of falling asleep. All he has to do is roll his head back and close his eyes. He concentrates on his breath, each deeper and heavier than the last. And then he is gone from the awakened world and enters the world of dreams. Scene 2. A serene warmth basks his body. What was a hard seat is now cushioned. Light permeates his eyelids, and Mal knows he's in a dream. His soul aches for the faces alive only in dreams. But when he opens his eyes, he is met with a scrutinizing gaze inches from his. Mal yelps in surprise and tumbles backward in his seat. Grand auroras dance in the morning skies, bursting with fishes, swimming within the colored streams. Mal stares, dumbfounded at this strange world of wonders. Twittering birds sing around him, melodies accompanied by great roars of dragons somewhere in the distance. Mal rolls off the chair and stands up to see the vast meadow with trees thicker than carriages that twist upward. With windows, doors, and stone roads connecting them. And amongst these strange homes are remnants of human structures. Stone rooms and hallways, as if someone took apart a castle and spread out the pieces. And in the center of this world is a tiny round tea table from which Mal had appeared seated in front of. The girl returns to her seat opposite Mal, her honey eyes never leaving him. Her dark skin glows, and the gold clasps in her hair glint and sparkle. She, the mother of a raven, wears feathered fabric with large black plumes sprouting off her shoulders. She rests her chin on her interlocked fingers and remains still, even as a raven lands on her shoulder. They are silent for a long while, until Vespera says, quite simply, "I didn't conjure you here." Of all the things she could have said, Mal did not expect that. He did not expect to talk to her at all. He meant to take a peep at what she is up to, and leave. Now he is confronted by the very person he cursed. All he manages to say is, "I'm, passing through." Vespera tilts her head. "So you aren't here to wake me up?"
Huh?
"Well, I am dreaming, am I not?" When Mal doesn't respond, she leans back and waves her hand as she talks. "I overheard my nanny talking with a servant once. They were arguing if, when my curse put me to sleep for 100 years, I'd age or not. Father told me it was all nonsense, but I never saw them again after that." She shrugs, her legs stretched and splayed out, unladylike. "I'd forgotten about that until recently." Oh, this is not at all how Mal envisioned this visit. Nor is Vespera the princess Mal imagined. She's direct, candid, and already acclimated to her surroundings. He is at her mercy within her dreams. Mal picks up the chair and takes a seat. Though he remains straight and proper, he can't help but fiddle with his thumbs clasped on the tabletop.
And what makes you think this is a dream?
To prove her point, Vespera snaps her fingers, and a 10-layer cake explodes into existence on the table. Then, it leans to the side until it topples off, each layer splitting and rolling away like wheels. Because everything I want to happen, happens. She slams her hands on the table in exasperation. But it's so boring now! I've done everything already! Mister, how long has it been?
17 years.
17? That means I still have... She counts on her fingers. 83? I'll die of boredom first! Daisy hops onto the table and slumps in imitation. Mal looks between them and can't help but ask,
You're not scared?
Vespera sits back up and snaps, making a clear diamond coin appear, which she rolls back and forth along her knuckles. I was, at first. But Daisy's here with me, so I assume my family is sleeping somewhere too. If they're with me when I wake up, even after 100 years, I'll be fine. Mal huffs.
Of course you will be.
So, who are you, mister? How unfair it all is. Mal wakes up all alone, but the princess gets to have her parents. He crosses his arms and answers,
The one who cursed you.
The coin stops. Vespera settles her gaze on him. There's no anger, no anguish, but her gaze is piercing all the same. Are you? She says, and sets the coin down, sliding it around her finger. How did I ever offend you so? How did I ever offend you so? The sound of the coin scraping against the wood maintains a slow pace. Mal's eyes follow it briefly before he puffs up his chest.
It is Peleus's offense, and it is your parents.
The coin slides faster in endless figure eights. Although Mal hangs on to his feigned calm demeanor, the sound winds up his tense body as he prepares for her outburst. But the princess retains her cool attitude. Her nail taps against the still coin, her eyes never leaving Mal's. She leans forward. My great-great-grandfather and my parents offend you, yet you curse me. Mal leans back.
Well...
I, a sweet young lady who has done nothing to you other than be birthed by a mother who, along with my father, have offended you, am cursed? I, An innocent little flower.
But they... Vespera stands with enough force to knock back her seat. Daisy flaps her wings and caws, prepared to fight.
The cowardice! The audacity! To strike a helpless, beautiful babe such as I for the offense of her forefathers! You, mister, offend me!
She stalks around the table, stomping her way to Mal as she talks until she has him cornered in his seat. Her words strike him, the truth in her reasoning like a weight that keeps Mal immobile and mute.
And for offending me, she continues. Now I shall curse you.
What? Mal's eyes focus on her raised hand, fully expecting a violent retribution. But when her hand comes down, it is not in a slap nor a snap of her fingers. She points at him instead.
Teach me!
Her command hangs in the air as Mal tries to wrap his head around such an absurd thing. Teach you? Teach you? Teach you what? Vespera throws her hands in the air.
Anything! Everything! The curse can't be broken. I will be stuck here for 100 years.
But you can create whatever you want. I'm going to say that again. Kind of manly vibes, you know? I said that dramatic and feminine. I gotta... The life of a voice actor, eh? But you can create whatever you want.
No. It's not the same.
She taps her finger against her lip in deep thought before she turns to her dreamland with open arms.
I'm imprisoned in this paradise where all my wishes come alive. And yet, I'm reminiscing. All this power. But there's something missing.
Behind her, Mal quietly gets up and tiptoes backwards to make his escape. But the princess whirls to him and locks her arm in his to lead him along as she snaps more objects into existence.
Snap a cake, snap a dress, consume it all without a thought. Then I think of the cook, watching me eat with her gratified look.
The massive treehouses part, and the two plus the raven enter the massive room without a roof, full of half-dreamt dreams. Mal picks out pieces of a kitchen, a cold oven, and tools splayed out, but there are also malformed swords and armor and unfinished paintings. Mal finds her frustration in each abandoned project and her lack of knowledge in each mistake. Vespera releases him to pick up a hammer.
How do I use my hands? She pleads. How do I build, create, construct? All I've made by my hands.
Ooh.
All I've owned made by hands like mine. But my mind has nothing to instruct.
To further explain her dilemma, she tugs at her dress.
My dresses don't come from nothing. Not the shape, the color, the thread.
And then she muses at her room. She muses at her room of endless puzzles.
How does a painter paint a picture? How does a baker bake the bread? These are all intriguing questions, but not meant for Mal. He frowns.
I'm the spinning fairy. How am I supposed to?
Vespera gasps and stares at him, her eyes shining.
The spinning wheel! Why, yes, of course. You're going on ahead. The biggest question of them all. How does the spinster spin the thread?
With a snap, a spinning wheel appears before them. It is a replica of the one in the tower, still broken where Vespera had pricked her finger. But that memory doesn't register in her eyes as she circles it with curiosity instead.
It looks just right. Spins just right, but...
Sorry, you're hearing the moaning sound in the background is my HVAC. I'm sorry. It's just really cold outside.
It looks just right. It spins just right, but...
She pushes the wheel into a spin.
I don't know how thread comes out of it.
She continues to play with it, pulling at it and putting more force behind her push. Unable to bear much more of her blasphemous treatment, he jumps forward to stop the wheel.
Thread just doesn't come out of it.
Uh-huh,
Vespera says, hanging on to his every word.
You feed it wool or cotton and spin the wheel round.
uh-huh.
Taking command of the dream, Mal waves his hand over the missing part, and the wheel becomes complete. Then, he brings forth a mound of cotton and begins his work.
You twist it to form thread and fill the spool like so.
And then from where?
With a defeated sigh, Mal spins.
How does a spinster spin the thread, as if I were a mere spinster? Princess, you forget I'm more. Watch my magic pour.
Vespera bends close to look at his fingers moving.
The thread should be even, no bumps, and twisted so. As it passes your fingers, here's the key. All your intentions must be set free.
Vespera lifts her head.
Intentions?
Good intentions, bad intentions. In creating, you lay your heart out bare. I spin my will in every thread for another to dawn on and wear.
He spins faster.
How does a baker bake the bread? With a need to make hunger despair. How does a painter paint a picture? With a vision their souls plead to share.
Mal steps aside and motions for Vespera to take his place. She does so, mimicking Mal's movements, and starts feeding the spinning wheel. She starts off slowly, struggling to get into the motion, but as she starts to get the hang of it, a bright smile spreads on her face.
With my own two hands, magicless, I still create. With this, my heart I'll display. To my people, their love I will repay.
Mal looks down at Vespera, a little taken aback by her admission. He hears a whisper of Felius woven into her words, and can't help but gently smile at her. Maybe coming here wasn't the worst that has befallen him. Who was he to deny her learning a craft as important as spinning thread? But the moment is broken when the string in Vespera's hands snaps. She stops the wheel and looks up at Mal with a fierce determination ablaze in her eyes.
Now show me again until I get it.
Mal's face scrunches up in horror as he realizes that to be a teacher, he will, in fact, have to sit there and teach her. And because one cannot teach an entire craft in a day, he'll have to come again tomorrow, and the day after. The only thought in his mind is thus: what did I get myself into? Scene 3. Back in Mal's room in the awakened world, 3rd and 7th finish the last of the cleaning. All the shades are newly bathed and dressed, and trading shiny rocks with one another. When the two fairies hear the connecting doorway, they drop their rags and broom and dart over to meet Mal. The person before them is not the same lethargic, depressed Mal, but a more irritated, yet contemplative Mal. New dreams have infiltrated his mind, future dreams rather than past ones. Carefully, 3rd asks,
How did it go, sweetie?
Mal meets her eyes and answers with persistent disbelief at this new turn of events. I've been cursed.
And that's where we're going to end.
I think it's just before. Let me go back up to... That is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the end of chapter 4.
I'm so happy.
I'm so happy. I love this so much. We are in Act 2, and we will be starting chapter 5. Unzipped. I said my HVAC. I don't know technical terms for things, but whatever the thing is for the air conditioning system unit stuff, yeah, that thingy. Whenever the AC turns off, it goes, ew. And so it happened twice while I was reading, that you could hear that in the background, the thingy go, yeah. I tried asking the HVAC people, like, hey, is my HVAC supposed to be like moaning? And they were like, your system's new, it's fine. You know, they just make noises sometimes. And I'm like, are you sure about that? But I don't think it does this in the summer, though. Anyway, everything's fine. I might have to do something about the fishies, because they look a little broken. I don't know why they're broken. Like, ASMR Man's is down there. I apologize. I haven't had time to fix this. Anyway, we are at the end of today's stream. If we have a mod available, can we please give a special shout out for PerlaZul VT, please? They are the amazing author and writer of Mal, and this has been an amazing, not only an amazing opportunity to read this, but it is also an amazing book to read as well. And if you are interested in getting the book for your own reading and to support the author as well, I highly encourage purchasing the book for yourself. It is available for purchase on itch.io for $2. And I think that this is a work of art that I am certainly going to be holding on to. Like I feel like this story is gonna be a core memory. I think it's gonna be a core memory for me. In a couple of, because there are some things in this book, the scenes and how they're like set up and how the story unfolds, and there's just like, I actually don't know the story of Sleeping Beauty very well, but this, it's so cute and I love it so much. I like it better. I like it better. It has more depth in like all of the characters. It has more depth in the logic, and I think that the interaction is more human. And that's something that is missing in a lot of fairy tales. Is in older fairy tales, it's very death-centric and can be gory or morbid or something of that sort. But I think I think if I were to put it into words, the reason why I loved reading Mal so much is that it is just more human. And I love being able to kind of breathe like humanity into writing and stories. But I do digress. We do have to end stream today. Tomorrow I will be back again at 7 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. We are streaming an hour later than I normally do because I will be occupied with a special movie premiere right after my work day. So if you are watching on Twitch, we are going to raid out. I highly encourage copying the raid message, !raid, copy the raid message, and join us along as we raid into someone who is hopefully reading a book. That would be pretty fun, pretty cool. It does seem like we do have a lot of writing going on. And if you are not watching on Twitch, I highly encourage you join us in the Discord server. You will be able to select what you are notified for, so I promise you we will not ping you unnecessarily. You will get notified at your own choosing when I go live, when I post a social media video, when we have movie nights, or when I post a YouTube video. this is the part where we say our good nights, our goodbyes, and our see you tomorrows. I thank you so, so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my reading of Mal. Again, join us again tomorrow night for karaoke, and on Friday we will resume reading Mal. So, until then, please take care of yourself, drink your water, eat your food, be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you tomorrow night. Have a good night.